Houston is going to the Final Four, and Charles Barkley is headed to San Antonio. This is the Big 12 squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad, sponsored by Game Time. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 squad.
It is Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the Big 12 squad, the most eclectic group we've probably ever had. Mountaineer Paul brought his cat. That is Jake Hatch of Locked On Cougars, talking all things BYU. JT Wishersill of Locked On Utes. Nick Maravets with Locked On Cyclones. Parker Ainsworth talking Houston Cougars. And Mountaineer Paul, who says a lot about the Steelers, but more importantly, West Virginia and those Mountaineers. The Big 12 has a team in the Final Four. Charles Barkley is in San Antonio this week, which is a legendary piece of content. And Duke is still in our intro, which just is a little – it's not great. It's just not great to look.
If they win it, that's going to hurt. Final Four schools, though? Can we claim two Final Four schools?
Yes.
I feel like it'll hurt a little bit next week, though, if they do win it all.
No. Why are you speaking that existence?
I said it will hurt. I'm just saying it will. It's not my fault they're in the intro.
There you go. Take one of those. Real strong. That's the BYU middle finger right there. That's what they do down in Provo.
That's what they were doing to Alabama a lot this week.
Speaking of BYU, Alabama, let's start with the teams that lost in March Madness. Nick, we can get to you. JT, you're in the crown.
We lost too, so we're in the
in the crown, baby.
One and done taste go, JT.
You're one and done in the crown?
I know we're not used to this since last year we made such a deep run in the NIT, so this is a new feeling for Utah basketball.
Jake, I have not gotten to talk to you. I don't know if any of us have since BYU lost to Alabama last week. That was I tweeted out 3 minutes in. This will go really badly if Alabama makes every three they take, and it turns out that's exactly what happened over the course of the night. BYU lost, but is there any solace in the fact that you lost against history?
No, because let's be honest, it's like BYU in a nutshell, that they'll get an opponent's best, and then the next game, Mark Sears, who seemingly couldn't miss, ends up with just 6 points in the next game after that. It's the tale of all tales for BYU to have a team have this historic type performance against the Cougars.
I will say, Jake, I respect what you guys did, but I do think Duke and you guys were on another level too. So I do give the Blue Devils a lot of credit defensively, rather than there were a lot of open threes you guys gave up. And BYU had a heck of a run. Richie Saunders was kind of like the March Madness player story with the whole grandpa tater tot thing, but it came to an end. It was a heck of a run.
King Tut is our new overlord.
King Tut. That's a reference to something else completely different.
Jeez. Jake, what is the outlook early on for BYU basketball next year? Because it sounds like Yegor Demon could come back. He wants to play with AJ DeBonsa, and Richie Saunders is back. I mean, there's a way that the Cougars are good.
Here's the thing: if they get Richie back, they get Yegor back, and they bring in AJ DeBonsa, watch out. This Cougars team could be much like the one right below me in Parker. We could be challenging for Final Four next year if they can get that trio back together.
Nick
Maravez right on that.
With the Cyclones, another year where you're like, gosh dang it, TJ Otzelberger. The muscles are big. The wins in March aren't always.
The shirts are small.
Mediums, baby.
Medium, Parker, to you.
Yeah. What do we? I mean, I like TJ. You can't. Obviously, he's not on the hot seat. Not even close. He's been great in the regular season, but it's the postseason where things seem to crack, and injuries can be a part of that. But what do you make of Iowa State and almost they're really nearly non-competitive game against Ole Miss defensively?
Style. Well, part of it too is Keyshawn, right? But at the crux of it, at the end of the day, Ole Miss just shot out of their mind, similar to Alabama. I think they were 66% from three or from the field. I forget. At this point, I'm trying to push it out of my memory. But on the season, they were 33% or whatever it was. So they doubled their season average. And part of it, it is just that Iowa State was missing a great defensive guard in Keyshawn. But sometimes the baskets are going to fall for the other team. And this is typical Cyclones. I'm not going to lie. Part of me wasn't too surprised with an early exit with one of the best teams we've probably ever seen in Ames, just because of that's how Iowa State athletics goes. But, I think next year there is some upside. If we can get Oscar Clough in Ames, look out.
Well, there is always baseball. Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting into baseball this year. Actually, the
Oh.
whole opening day thing looked real fun. I was like, maybe I look into that.
Isn't wrestling over too? What do you have now?
Wrestling?
Softball?
Where's Cody?
Softball.
Where's Cody? We're talking about
We
wrestling.
got softball. Yeah.
Good. Is that track and field? Maybe they
Track
can go.
field.
Hey, we do that all right over at Houston, actually.
Hey, Parker Ainsworth, you also do basketball really well. You're headed to the Final Four. Maybe the first question, I know you do a lot of teaching and coaching. Will you be able to take a break from that and get down to San Antonio?
We're working on it. I guess if they're recording this podcast, we're working on it. Yeah, I thought it was interesting we opened with the other Cougars, but I guess they do have a 5-star coming in and a potential lottery pick coming back. So I get the conversation piece there.
Are you
Carry the
salty?
lead.
Someone was salty. Wasn't the A block? Oh,
Hey,
But I just think it's very typical Houston to not be the A block, even when we're the only team still
you bury
playing
the
here.
lead.
you're on
keep
Drake's joke.
You
on
keep the
Drake's joke.
viewers here, and they know that eventually they're going to get to the topic they want to hear, right? You tease it, and now we're here. Parker, you're in the Final Four.
Yeah, and I want to apologize. Actually, this is the old Final Four shirt from 2021. I haven't gotten the updated one for the more recent
That was
edition.
not a good Final Four for Houston.
Getting there was great.
Jake's never seen a Final Four shirt, by the way, for BYU. He's never seen
oh,
one.
hey now. Okay. Do we need to put together like a GoFundMe to get you to San Antonio? Is that what we need to do?
Ooh, there we go.
I don't know when this releases, but the last minute GoFundMe to get a ticket would be crazy. I'm trying to get in as a
Sell that
worker.
shoe collection, bro.
Yeah, start flipping some of these from my. Hey, take your pick.
I'll take
Yeah,
those
San Antonio.
Bruins there.
I will say, and Drake and I talked about this earlier in the week. It's the first time a team from Texas is playing in a Final Four in Texas,
It's a good stat. Crazy.
which is interesting. Duke is very national.
Paul,
I don't know if it will
you
matter.
got there? What was that?
What was that? Yeah.
Old jug
Good.
of cold brew.
Holy! What are you?
I thought it was lotion. I was worried.
Taking a sip of lotion.
Bro got the gallon of Starbucks. How did you pull this off?
This is what we call hillbilly splurging, Bob.
The venti.
I got my
plus.
paycheck today because our direct deposit didn't get whatever reason I didn't get it. So I got my paycheck today instead of last week, and I thought, well, you know what?
First
I'm already in Huntington. I might as well hit the Starbucks. Bang! I did.
Paul, that's worth like 3 visits to your ecclesiastical leader here in Provo. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You go through the drive-through. How did you attain that?
Did you have to like
Multiple
show your
drive-throughs.
ID or something? How do you? What? I've never look. Do it again. Do you pull it up next to your face? That's, oh my
In
God.
Utah, you definitely need an ID for that, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a vanilla latte.
Probably a full pat now.
That should be the thumbnail.
The state liquor store in Utah
Just
wants
put a thumbnail of me doing
Paul.
this.
I just don't. I don't. I talk all the time about West Virginia fans being these coal miners, these real down to earth, just blue collar people. And here Paul comes with the most like white girl fall drink of all time, and it's the size of
With the cat. With the cat.
yeah, it's the size of a 2-liter Mountain Dew. What it's Starbucks.
Yeah.
Payday.
Are we allowed to
I ruined
say?
my
Are
Mountaineer,
we allowed to say what it was from? Wait, are we getting a deal here, Paul? Are you working on us? Working something on us?
No free
I
ads.
keep switching it up, hoping somebody will just reach out to me for that segment 2 drink deal.
The company founded by Howard Schultz is no longer sponsoring this.
Parker
Mountaineer
will be-
Paul and
Parker will be double fisting Starbucks just like he was with 5 Hour Energy.
Oh,
I will double
geez.
fist a lot of beverages for a sponsorship. Don't test me.
That's great. Coming up, more on Houston's Final Four. Arizona State has a new women's basketball coach. So does BYU. One of those two is a little confusing to me. This is a very tame Big 12 squad. Today's show is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. How do I stay awake all the time? From work to the other work to even more work, it's 5 Hour Energy. And the best part is you can find it wherever you go. Oh, convenience store, 5 Hour Energy. Oh, gas station, 5 Hour Energy. Oh, I'm on the internet, 5-Hour Energy. With 5-Hour Energy, daylight savings time has snuck up on you. It matters not. Get your energy back. And you're up late watching the NCAA tournament. Matters not. 5-Hour Energy. With basketball season going as late as it does almost every day, head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery store or convenience store. They are everywhere. Stock up today. Stay energized. That is 5-Hour Energy. Use 5-Hour Energy today. Back on the Big 12 squad, Mountaineer Paul. Segment 2. So you can have a dew. Pour your dew into the Starbucks canister, whatever it.
This one
Don't.
more.
Yeah, that'll be a hard.
There we
stop.
go. Let's triple up the caffeine intake. Let's go.
Hey, Parker was already frustrated
There's
about
another
not
one.
being. Parker was already frustrated not leading the show, and then Drake teases women's basketball
one with
coach.
the
It
code
doesn't
red lid
include
on it.
Parker's women's coach in that. So this is going to end in a brawl. This is gonna end.
Yeah, you did hire a good women's coach too. Gosh dang it. I forgot. From Kentucky. I couldn't tell you his name.
He was really Matthew Mitchell. He was really good at Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then he had a concussion in the fall of 2020 and retired.
Happens to the best of us.
You know,
No.
Hang it up for a
contact
couple
sports.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's getting out of retirement to take the Houston job, even though he runs a charity in Lexington, Kentucky. We're not going to ask questions. We're just going to roll with it.
Yeah. Why not?
He was stellar at Kentucky. Had a great run.
Yeah.
I mean, great coach. I don't know what the circumstances are for this, but great coach. He ended up at Houston.
Yep. So we alluded a little bit about Houston's Final Four. We talked about it at the end of that first segment. Give me the assessment of the game against Tennessee and then going into Duke, because that Tennessee win was not just a win. It was total and utter domination.
Well, and I got to be honest, it was going to be a close game. It was very good on good in a lot of ways. Two teams play good defense and good guards. Houston, they had an answer for everything that Tennessee wanted to do. They went small because Jawan Roberts was in foul trouble, and it worked. And frankly, they killed them on the glass. And I think Tennessee had 15 points at halftime, an abysmal 1 of 15 from 3. Just Houston did a really good job of shutting down the shot from behind the arc, and then didn't let them get anything free in the lane inside. Translating that to Duke, now we have Duke expert Cam Stewart on.
Nice. He is rooting for Duke. He told me that in this game.
He's the worst.
I'm from Boston.
I can't believe we get this. I can't believe we get this for free, man.
Hey, really quick before we jump to the Duke part of it, I just want to say that was one of the most impressive first halves of basketball defensively I've ever seen. I know I always get crap for not giving the Big 12 schools enough love.
Right. He's going to end this statement with, and also I'm rooting for Duke this week.
I was blown away by what they did. And yeah, I mean, I did pick Duke to win it also.
Okay.
I was worried that the Carolina fan in you was going to not be able to pick Duke, actually, so I'm surprised.
Taking UNC over Houston, apparently.
Wasn't your team the one that they held 36 points or whatever that ended up?
We did double up Utah.
Why do you have to remember the exact number? That just shows Jake's level of detest for Utah. Remember the exact number.
It was that kind
Someone
of
would call that
sticker
petty. Someone say
Yeah.
petty.
Someone say that.
Paul, show Cam what you got there.
Someone
We'll
call
show and
that
tell action.
real. That's real.
Cam, check this out. Now do the facing again.
Did I miss
Yeah. It's just like this 2-liter.
I'm sure
It's half empty.
with her.
It's half empty.
I've never seen anything like it.
I'm frozen.
It's a big ass vanilla.
Often
latte, no doubt.
imitated, never duplicated. That's incredible. Does Mountain Dew know about this? Did we already go over? Do they know about this?
Well, I was
other
eating nerds with it because I was like,
Wow.
Of course.
I have to
yes.
balance it out. If I'm going to eat something as sissy, drink something as sissy as Starbucks, then I got to throw some noids in there a little bit since you got the Boston hat on. Put some noids in.
Dude, this is great.
I've got a
because,
character.
the night after I get really high and just eat a bunch of crap, I the next morning I'm like, I gotta have a protein shake. I gotta have something that's good for me. And Paul, his balance is, I ate something sissy last night. I've got to really man it up. I'm gonna have some beaver meat for breakfast with my latte.
Has anybody here
I
ever
love
had
that.
squirrel brains? Honest question.
What?
Yes, I have.
It's very
You
good.
Paul. They're not. They're not.
I've had chicken brains, if that helps. I don't know.
It's a similar skull
Paul, you big fan of squirrel brains over there?
with eggs, yeah, and hot sauce for sure.
Oh yeah, we were.
What kind of hot
of
sauce you put
course.
on these?
Really doesn't matter to me, but I guess if you're going to put me on the spot, I'd probably go sriracha.
Oh, okay.
We were a kid. We fell on when I was a child. We fell on some financial hardships there for a few years, and I remember like one time we had to we went back to school shopping and then had to take the back to school clothes back to the stores. Super funny story. It was awesome. And
Drama.
around that same time,
Great.
it was probably December or so. We hit a squirrel on the way home, and that we cooked it. The squirrel was cooked and consumed. My dad was like, "Man, times are tough. We're just gonna have to get through this." So we had squirrel brains for dinner one time.
Was that in season then?
Oh, Derek, we got
That's
some word
bad.
for you. I don't know if you just heard that. We have so much to catch you up
I
on.
heard something about squirrel brains.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
guessing this
man,
is
you can eat them.
weirdest
They're
things
edible.
We've ate. Yeah.
They're not even weirdest. I would say I've eaten
That's
weirder
what my
than
dad
that,
called me
probably.
when I was a kid.
Speaking of
Weirdest
dad
thing he's
stories.
ate.
Actually, my dad called me that last week. To be fair,
Show off.
Yeah, Paul. I thought you were going. You got any more for us? You liked the squirrel brains are good. Anything else you ate that was kind of weird? The West Virginia cuisine.
There's a few things, yeah. Let's see. In West Virginia, specifically, what's something really weird? Probably blood sausage. That's the only thing that I can really think of. My grandma used to make that. So, and that's basically made out of blood, congealed blood. If you've ever had that, that's a super weird one. Squirrel brains, obviously. Other than that, not
Obviously.
too much. That I can think of that's super, super weird. I mean, like for me growing up, seeing hog guts strewn over my swing set and and roasting in the ground was something really normal for me to see growing
Does
up.
that mean that the flames are coming from beneath the swing? Because that's kind of an ominous image right there.
No, literally. So hog intestines are really long. Like they look like those flailing tube man things. Like they're like all over the place. You know what I mean? They're blue.
Here's the thing, Mountain. I had to go halfway around the world to Taiwan to try blood sausage. I just could have just come to West Virginia and gotten it. Is that what you're talking
Wait, so while you're speaking of travels, I've got questions on brains here too, because I lack them. But also, I feel like
Go for it.
in Texas, you see a lot of Latino markets will sell sesos or pig brains, right? Like and put in tacos. Is it this? And frankly, it when spiced correctly, I think is pretty good. Is it the same kind of delicacy here? Is squirrel brain similar? Do they taste or have the same consistency, just
They're
different
both-
sizes?
They're both firm and creamy. Like if that's what you're asking.
Which was my nickname in high school.
Yeah.
Hey,
There you go.
I'm walking down the hall.
Almost all brains are like got
I
that
couldn't use the
creaminess.
dad.
That's what I'm getting at. Is I only see the pig brain, and so I didn't know if
Right.
other
No, yeah,
animals.
not much difference. Yeah.
Deer brain, you could eat. That's a thing. We had a few of those back in the day. You could take that off as well. Yeah, we had a tree in the front yard. That's where you clean the deer. We were when I was probably 7 or 8. My dad worked at New York Life. Had an awesome midlife crisis where he left landscaping for New York Life, which lasted like a month. And 7 Point stand in the backyard, deer season, and he shot it, dropped that thing. But as we were getting in the car to go to school, and come home, and there he is.
It's like Napoleon Dynamite, man. Like with Uncle Lyle shooting the cow, like right in front of the school bus. That was Drake's dad, man. I think it was Uncle Lyle that did that. Uncle Rico threw steak at passersby.
And can throw a pigskin.
Only the ones he's related to.
Did you know that was an actual toss, by the way?
Yes. And
That
then
was
when
Uncle Rico
Pedro-
actually threw that.
when Pedro leaves that scene, it's because he was laughing so hard. He was supposed to stay in that scene.
We saw the same clip, didn't we?
Napoleon
Yes.
Dynamite was at BYU's game against Alabama.
That's right.
And how did that go, Jake? And
Not
how did
very
that go?
I feel like
And
I
we're
got
back
Napoleon
to the
Dynamite right
tots
next to
again.
me in this podcast right here. Like, look at this guy.
You
Look
want
at
to
this
talk
guy.
about some of my dad's favorite people, man. John Dieter from Napoleon Dynamite.
Hey, you guys. Hey, next time we have like a Big 12 get together, we're coming out to Utah. We're going to Preston, Idaho to visit Napoleon Dynamite's house. It's on
That's
Wait, are y'all tight?
How far away is that?
about 2-hour drive from where I'm
Because
at.
I would 1000% do that.
We
I
can
would
get-
do that.
Like a million.
Wait, are y'all
percent.
close?
I'm about 2 hours away where I'm at.
No, not like Are we gonna go stalk him, or does he know you're coming when you say?
No, just go visit the house. They have like a shrine, like it's set up to Napoleon.
He doesn't live there. Yeah, he's talking about where.
Yeah, it's not Johnny Heater's house. I think it was their small
I
brain.
was a little concerned with what you were proposing we do.
Squirrel brain
Parker was the
Parker
one-
is confused.
Yeah.
Yes, he told us he lacks brains. He did say that.
He did
Yeah.
say that. Yes. Parker, we're gonna go to a place called Preston, Idaho. It's the home of Napoleon Dynamite. There
You're
you go.
2 hours from Idaho. No kidding, huh?
Yeah. Yep. So
Never been. It's like one of the few. I've got like 5 states left to check off, and that's one of them.
Only 5.
Idaho. Yeah, man, we're cooking. I'm in Atlanta right now.
I've got a sister who's married to a potato salesman in Idaho. I don't know what to tell you, Drake. So
That's so sick.
She
Wait,
just-
are the
like-
Bananas not going to play in Preston?
no,
Do the
Actually,
Bananas not make
what?
that trip?
Their
What
venue
city
is
would they play
overgrown.
in? Boise? Is that the place you play in Idaho?
you have to go to
Yeah, they've got a minor league team, right?
While you're there, you can bring them into the Big 12
They
fold,
should play in the
maybe.
Boise Stadium.
we
Yeah,
do
there you
know.
go.
I am close-ish friends with the Boise State athletic director, Jeremiah Dickey. Yep, follows me on Twitter still. Yeah, he was going
Boise's
to.
a happening place now, man.
He was going to come on locked. Yeah, so
Young
expensive to live
people.
there.
Yeah. They
Boise,
love
Jackson Hole, you can't move there anymore.
It's tough.
Derek,
You
God
get
bless
a bunch of
America.
people. So I went to high school in Southern California. A lot of people venture out that way from Southern California. It gets too expensive, and they go to Boise for some reason.
welcome to Utah. Come
My
on now.
man settled down in Kansas.
You've definitely
Boise?
got Southern California hair for sure. Like it's so
take
like
that.
Beach Boys. Yeah.
Yep.
Please
He needs
describe
that-
Drake's hair now. What does Drake's
Yeah,
hair look
come
like?
on,
What does it
Paul.
remind you of?
Definitely a little hot Atlanta, definitely a little
Yeah, if
redneck in
Derek's
there.
Southern Cal.
Definitely
In
definitely a
Atlanta.
little I'm from Texas and I'm trying to prove it.
It's got the mullet, Paul. It's coming
Colonia,
back.
Arkansas, right there.
Yeah.
I think Drake could be in a Beach Boys tribute band, honestly.
I do
If,
the
if
harmonies.
Derek
Do
if
that,
Derek
Bob.
looks
Oh,
so
there we go.
sarcastic-
Oh, I've never seen
oh,
Hey,
That-
it's
that's
not just a
terrible.
phase.
Do it
Paul.
again.
Not just
You
a
gotta have-
phase.
You got to.
Yes.
You got to have just enough grease to be able to slick.
Are
it
you about to join the Black Parade, brother?
It's not a phase, Paul. It is not a phase.
I've never. Is that your natural hair?
It is. Yeah.
That is
You wore a
jet
wig on it?
black, man.
The
Amazing.
savior
Do
of
the-
the
do the-
broken,
you-
the beaten, and
Amazing.
the damned.
You put it over your eye again. You kind of flopped it down there for a second.
Yeah,
That looks-
the down is the
Wow!
left. There we go.
oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yes.
He'd be
Oh
lead
my
singing for
gosh.
Green Day right now.
The
Oh,
All
artist.
right, JT, your turn.
hell yeah,
Like-
dude.
Like the third member
I
of
knew
Big
that was
Time
coming, by
Rush.
the way.
That's crazy, man. Today is gonna be
It's called budget cuts.
wow.
Budget
That's
cuts, man.
crazy.
Not
I-
cutting hair.
I will never forget the first time I saw JT hatless, which was
Hey,
a
you guys
similar-
remember that time that we were almost in segment 3 and didn't talk about our coach yet? We got a
No.
brand new coach. That's pretty crazy.
Everyone's mad about their
Hey,
replacement.
Oh.
to be fair, Mountaineer
Yeah.
Paul, we'll catch the next coach if we don't talk about this one. Okay, they just keep coming through. We're talking about the next one.
Listen, we're
Same time next
cranking-
year.
Cranking our Hodges for sure.
I
Hodges?
love it. I love it. That's great. Coming up
We're
in
going
segment
Hodge
3.
wild.
Coming up in our
Wait,
40-minute segment.
I think
3,
after that we need to talk about BYU women's basketball coach.
we are
after
going to
we talk
hit
about
all of the
Crank and Hodges.
brand new coaches in the Big 12, including Houston. Cam, did you know Houston also got a new women's basketball coach? Yep. So on our new
He had a
hires
concussion.
in women's basketball that's releasing on Wednesday.
Did not.
Oops. And he's the best of the 3, by the way. That's coming up on segment 3 of the Big 12 squad. All right, going right back. All
Cam, you
right,
have the
new
smallest hands I have ever seen. Those are doll hands.
Rude, mean,
No,
uncalled
it's
for,
amazing. They are
uncalled
tiny.
for. No, it's not. Trust me.
motion of the ocean,
Those
baby.
extra small gloves.
Drake, remember when you said there was a tame episode? Now look where we are.
Yeah,
That was
Cam's
good.
small hands.
Do you have
Well,
trouble with
You try
jars
to
of pickles?
you try to shake a grown man's hand, and you'll know it's not as cool as you think.
Let's take things up a notch. A lot of hot new hires in the Big 12. BYU basketball, women's basketball has a new coach. Houston women's basketball, West Virginia basketball, and Arizona State has decided to hire Molly Miller as
baby.
their next head basketball.
Paul, you got to show her that hair. You got a shot with the
My
Yeah.
impulse control is lacking.
And
Obviously, it's the
Molly's-
coffee.
Molly's husband and children will be joining her in Tempe, just making sure that they are going to be there. But Molly Miller is the new women's basketball coach at Arizona State. On behalf of all of us with the Big 12 squad, Molly, just want to say welcome to the conference. Grateful to have you here. We wish you nothing but the best and
Hurry up,
unbelievable.
Richie.
I think Richie needs to
Unbelievable.
get her on this. Richie needs to get her on the squad show, right? That's the
Uh-huh.
the introduction.
If Molly Miller's on the squad show one week,
I did hear a
That's a
rumor that
20K
Houston
video.
threw an offer her way.
Free pub.
Yeah, I did think Houston threw an offer her way though, and she chose to go to Arizona.
I
Do
think
you
a
think
lot
if
a
we
lot of
had her
sports-
on the show, would that raise or would that lower our woman audience?
Here's the problem.
Can we get
can
to
only-
double digits?
We can only have 10
5%.
hosts on the show at a time because of our StreamYard complications. So, like, I mean, how do we pick? Do we draw straws for who gets to be involved in the
Yeah.
Molly Miller conversation?
Your ball has to be there. That's all.
I feel like she needs to make a basketball test that we have to, and the people that hit the highest grades get on. Mostly feeling confident in my abilities there.
Or
but,
you have to get right which team she coaches.
Oh, where she came from. This is good.
If you can get that, we're good.
She won at Drury. I'm sure that when Richie Bradshaw shows up, he'd be happy to wax poetic about Molly Miller, the new basketball coach in Tempe. Jake, BYU's deposed women's basketball coach is no longer in Provo because they are deposed. And so why not go with the assistant, who is – and Cam and I brought up this point when we were talking about it. You take Jimmy Dykes at Arkansas, right? ESPN guy. He's a legend locally. And then he ruins his reputation, or at least mars his reputation by just sucking as a basketball coach. You're taking an all-American basketball player and putting him in the spotlight as a coach now. And if in 3 years this didn't go the way you wanted it to, that really stinks for a guy who's got a great reputation there.
Well, hey, BYU took a Heisman Trophy winner, let him have 2 years as an offensive coordinator, then dumped him. So hey, I don't know what to
Which
tell
you shouldn't do. That's you're playing with fire there.
So here's the thing. Lee Kamar, as you mentioned, an All-American basketball player for BYU men's basketball. He actually was an assistant under Jeff Judkins, who preceded Amber Whiting. So he's been 7 years in Provo. He is really bided his time. He has been patient. He probably should have got a crack at this job. I feel like when Amber Whiting was hired for the position, now he gets his shot. But to your point, Drake, if it doesn't work out in 2 or 3 years, that's another household name in Cougarville that's going to be cast to the curb.
Especially with the checks they got coming, you better win.
You take exception to him saying Cougarville, Parker.
Who is that about? Who is that about?
I feel like
You
Yeah,
Drake,
say
eh?
that.
Which point? Wait, which point do you agree with that I said? This
A
is
little
like the
peek
first time.
behind the curtain, by the way.
Which
I
point?
uploaded that with like 10 minutes left last week, hoping for Drake to make a good point. And
What else have you uploaded
best of
here?
both worlds.
You keep uploading.
Oh
things.
my god!
What a
Hi.
picture! Look at the stud.
Those are not doll hands.
No, that is a
Those
that
are
is a
meaty
man's
hands.
hand.
That's an all-timer.
That Cam?
I love that one. I love that sketch. I love.
He looks
that.
like the guy from Happy Gilmore that showers in the pond.
Yeah.
Did you guys see
Chuck.
part two's coming out?
Look,
this
Cam. So to me, and Cam's got a Boston Bruins cap ready to rock and roll. Look
Yeah,
at that.
he was. We got the Duke shirt on under the sweatshirt.
I need bits because my Wi-Fi is so bad. I only get like every 3 words everyone's saying, so I just have to have bits ready.
It's because of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down here, Paul started the chain.
I have
reaction.
crystal clear internet. Thank you.
He took it from Cam.
Jake, on to wrap up that aspect of our new coaching conversation that we're here with, for BYU, I mean, there had to be, with the excess of money that the Cougars have in athletics. Jerem Jordan said it to me on the show last week that, hey, now it's above table. We can talk about it. BYU's got money. We can utilize it in athletics. Why wasn't there a splash hire, a big name, and somebody taken away from a major organization? Why was it, again, the assistant of the deposed coach?
I think the biggest impediment, obviously, is because BYU typically with their head coaches, they are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, that's not a hard and fast rule. We've seen that with women's track and women's cross country. Diljit Taylor is not a member of the faith, but she's been a very great head coach in those 2 sports for BYU. So I don't know, Drake, honestly, with what they did in football, what they've done in men's basketball, many of the other hires they have made recently were pretty big-sized hires. This one feels like they settled a bit in just elevating Lee Kamar to the job, but I think they're feeling like they need to give him a crack at it, even if it doesn't work out.
The NIL situation at BYU is interesting too, because Jake, correct me if I'm wrong, your 25 recruiting class ranks outside the top 50, correct?
Are we talking men's or women's?
Football. I meant for football.
Oh,
real quick.
For football, yeah, it's outside of that.
It's interesting, right? You have this amazing
football.
basketball class. You're doing so well there.
We just added another 4-star to that class. It should elevate even more further.
You should go up more, but why do you think there is such a disparity between the two sports?
Well, and that's a great question. I think the biggest thing is trying to find the right balance, because in football, we're going to have 105 guys when that new house settlement comes into effect. That's obviously going to affect how many guys you can pay, because you have so many more guys. In basketball, it's capped at 15. So you can invest a whole lot more money in fewer guys. And we all know that basketball, one impact player like an AJ DeBonsa, they're going to cost top dollar, but they can have a major impact by themselves. Whereas you need probably 2, 3, 4 football players to have that same type of an impact.
True.
Paul, you got a new coach, man.
Yeah, man, I got a Hodge on, man. I love this dude. He is truly awesome.
Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is where I go to make money. FanDuel's great because March Madness is here. The FanDuel app is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. I've got my eye on Houston to win the national championship at plus 400 right now. Throw $100 on it, win 400 because they're going to win the whole thing. With tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something exciting to bet on. The FanDuel app is simple to use. When I win, I get paid instantly. No waiting around. Visit FanDuel.com. Get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. FanDuel.com to get in on that college hoops action all tournament long. Visit FanDuel and do it today.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
That's the biggest Paul smiled since what happened with West Virginia.
Well, you know, man, the way Darren DeVries left, obviously my favorite pastime is to hate Darren DeVries now. And the way his family talked to me, which is a whole nother subject, I guess they were upset that I put some stuff out there about Tucker that I wasn't supposed to, or that they didn't want me to. But at the end of the day, answer my text. Let me know why you left so I can tell people. They chose not to do that. Anyway, Ross Hodge is now in town. Maybe everything I do is I don't know if that was the right thing to do or not in those situations. Obviously, sometimes emotion gets the best of us. But I am glad that Hodge is in town. It's funny. Right now, he's got 2 jobs, literally. He spoke about it today in an interview with one of our people here locally. He's preparing North Texas for a Final Four game in the NIT during the day. And
which I love, by the way. I love that coaches like stay and finish out the commitment. I think if you're going to be a man who's going to go and lead a program somewhere else, you got to finish the message you've been preaching to the players of the school you're leaving.
Yeah. We got one of those, and an assistant on our staff that I'll let Paul finish. I have thought on that too, actually. But
Kansas would have Jim Harbaugh if they would have let him coach the bowl game Stanford was in.
Wow. And at night he's putting together a roster for West Virginia. Talked about that openly today. He said he can focus. He said it'd be the same if he was at North Texas right now, because the analogy he used was like, if I was at North Texas right now, I would be coaching this team during the day, and so we're so deep into this NIT. We would be building the roster for North Texas anyway. So it's really no different, just focusing on West Virginia. So that was I like the way he put that. Hadn't thought of it that way. He sold a lot of people, and there's been a big PR deal come out about him from Ren Baker. We've seen guys like Fran Fraschilla, obviously all the coaches around the conference. Scott Drew's come out and said things about him. Several really good coaches say that he's a good coach, an elite defensive guy. They've had a Houston level defense at North Texas. Now this is not at the Power 4 level for going on now 5 years now. So, and he's been the architect behind that. I think that's what they're going to lean into.
What number candidate was he on the most desired list? Because I do know you guys struck out on a couple.
He was probably from a fan's perspective.
Fans or organization, either one.
Ren Baker, we'll be really honest about this. Ren Baker went all the way out to New Mexico, met Richard Pitino, and didn't offer him the job because he wanted his guy, right?
Yeah, and here's the thing, Paul. How did they whiff on not pulling our good friend up at Utah State back to West Virginia?
That was crazy.
Yeah, because here's the reason, because that's a Bob Huggins disciple. Literally, that's a Bob Huggins disciple, So, you got to think he coached for Huggins for over a decade, with Huggins for over a decade. So,
but Calhoun had such great success both at Youngstown State and obviously at Utah State this past year. I was stunned that he re-upped with the Aggies.
He wanted the job, and they had a top 20 class at Utah State, of all places, in basketball. So
Logan
obviously
Roxon,
doing
man.
a good job there. But the defensive metrics is a huge reason. One of the big reasons he didn't get hired. He's never had good defense. Rim Baker is sold on that you have to have good defense to win. I agree. And listen, like I say all the time, Rim Baker's literally, I don't even think he's ever missed on a basketball hire all the way back since you go to Ben McCollum, Darren DeVries. I mention them all the time. Mark Kellogg, obviously on the women's side, is doing amazing. He's Grant McCaslin. We hired him at North Texas. So obviously, no, he was there. I'm sorry. Apologies. He didn't hire McCaslin, I don't think, but he was with McCaslin. So yeah, but he's done a good job. So we're trusting it. But we do know that this was, he acquiesced, right? With the Rich Rodriguez situation. He said, okay, you guys are going to war here. You want me to hire Rodriguez so bad. Fine. I'm not doing it for the basketball job. That's what happened.
It's a balance. We haven't talked about McCaslin yet. What happened with them?
They lost.
Levels not here to rub it
That was
in,
like that was one of the craziest comebacks I've ever seen. I kept watching thinking, how are they going to win this? And they found a way. Florida.
The refs. Blame it on the refs, because why not? You can't.
They also missed 2 free throws. I guess that's the
massive.
Yeah,
they left 4
that
points
was
on the board.
bad. That was bad. Paul,
front end of 1-on-1.
To wrap up the West Virginia basketball conversation here, I saw a couple of West Virginia beat reporters, fans tweet out information that donors aren't on board all the way with the hire, but instead of giving money to basketball, they'll just now they see Rich Rodriguez in even higher standing than they did a month ago, and they want to take that money and deliver it to football. Is that the case right now?
Oh, that's definitely the case. I do think some guys have come back to the table for Ross Hodge, which is great. And look, at the end of the day, it's going to be in the university's hands come July anyway with revenue share. So that's kind of almost a non-point in some ways, but NIL is still going to matter. We know that. So I think in this situation, they're both going to get something, but definitely Rich Rod. I mean, he just had, like I said, today on 3 Guys for the Game, which is a local podcast with our play-by-play guy, Tony Caridi, talking about just what they're going to do. They're cutting down the roster 105 like a lot of people are, and they're going to go they've already got 60 new people this year, in the first year. They're going to have at least 12 to 15 more transfers coming in after spring. So it's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned that, and we can after we get to Houston women's basketball coach, which I know everyone's very excited to talk about. There are NIL agents are trying to broker deals right now, because once that revenue sharing hits with universities, these agents aren't going to make near as much money. So they want to land that $3 million deal today, so they get their 20% and can go home and be fat and happy. We can get into that here in a bit. Parker, you have a new women's basketball coach, and I know we all are very, very excited.
Is her name Molly? Molly? Is that her name?
Molly. No, we got a guy named Matthew Mitchell. Again, like I said, he's a pretty talented coach. He got women like Ryan Howard and stuff like that to Kentucky, the SEC Coach of the Year twice. He kind of stumbled into Houston. Everyone was kind of surprised that he was a candidate. I don't think people knew he was even looking to coach anymore after been retired for a few years. And I will say, Houston feels like, and not that all of y'all follow girls basketball. Why are you putting that up while I'm talking about this guy, man? But Houston does kind of have this same kind of could it be the next big thing? They hadn't been very good the last few years, but they do have a lot of talent in the area, not unlike other sports. Houston metro area has got a lot of athletes across a lot of things. But if you look at where the top SEC programs, top Big 12 programs pluck their girls from, it's typically Houston. A lot of kids.
You're missing the number one point. He watched Kelvin Sampson be a retread, come around to Houston, have major success, and says, "Hey, if he can do it, I can do it."
Well, he didn't have a lack of success in Kentucky, and he didn't leave in the same kind of way. But I do think there's something to that. I think the other thing too, though, is that whether it's Title IX or just goodwill, the Houston women get all the same facilities and perks that the men do. It's actually a really well set up program with great facilities, great swag, gear, deals, all of that. It's pretty good setup. I think it could turn around pretty quick.
Just follow the Kelvin Sampson model, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Well,
Hall of
that
Fame
makes it
coach.
so
Yeah,
easy.
just be a Hall of Fame coach. Yeah.
Do the defense. Have a defense. Is what you should do. Houston's it's weird, man. You've got access to local athletes that are blue chip. I mean, if you put a team together of only kids from Lubbock, you're gonna suck. But if you put together basketball or football, only Houston area, that's a very good team. The problem is, and I've mentioned this, Parker, I think to you, I know Cam and I have talked about it with a few people, like the number one show in town any given season would be the Astros or the Rockets or the Texans or the damn symphony orchestra, right? There are so many things in Houston that are going on that the university gets pulled down by. In Provo, there's just BYU. In Houston, there's so much happening outside of Cougars basketball or football or women's basketball. It's got to be tough to get a kid to stick around when they may not be the number one show in town, no matter how good they are.
Well, and I do think when you look at like the crowds for Houston basketball, or if you go back to 2015-16 when they were nationally relevant in football, winning Peach Bowls and stuff like that, like they've shown people show up for a winner. But what you're saying is completely true. There's just too many other things to do when they're not. And it is a unique problem in this conference to Houston. I mean, you mentioned BYU, but there's Waco, there's Lubbock, there's Stillwater,
even
there's
Fort Worth.
Morgantown. Even Fort Worth is not the same thing.
No.
Like it's a unique problem for Houston, and I guess you could also argue, is it Arizona State is like outside of Phoenix, right? Like kind of, sort of, but I don't. Anyway, it's really the next closest thing, though.
Tempe is a lovely, lovely town.
Right next to Scottsdale. A lot of room to get in trouble over there. They draw, but that's a place you want to stay. I can tell you, I've been to Houston a few times. That's a place I want to take a vacation every few weeks. Like, get me out of the city limits for a second or two. Tempe, you could be there for a long time.
But there's a Houston pride, though. Like H-Town, like people love representing
H-Town,
Houston.
yes.
And frankly, as someone who will remind you I was born there too, like people will tell you that they're from there very proudly. It's also got that going for it. We got the number one recruit in the state of Texas.
You got that going on to you?
Now what?
Your name is blocking it, by the way. We couldn't see it.
Hey, Paul, you got to raise up a little bit there. You
Wait, which one of his names? They both say down near Paul.
Chest, brother. No,
Paul, you got
directly underneath it.
Paul, you got to lift up.
It's even worse.
Paul, lift. You got to lift
You just
up.
stand up and you'll be
No,
down.
you still can't.
There we go. West Virginia.
That's
pride.
better. That's better.
All right.
Over the heart.
Oh yeah.
Gotta love it.
That was done. That was done with a what do they call it? A staple. It was done with a staple and chess pieces.
What do you call it?
A staple and chess pieces.
I'm gonna need
melted
to pause
chess
here.
pieces.
How does that
I'm
work?
proud. I have this tattoo on my backside. Just kidding. I have this.
So melted chess piece. Yeah. How does any of that work? What you just said.
Well, in jail, the toilets are steel, right? So in the cubby hole where the toilet paper usually goes, they just, because you can get anything in jail, obviously, lighter. You take a lighter to some chess pieces, you get soot, which is like an ink. You mix it with some ashes from a cigarette or whatever. And then you take, it's not sanitary if that's what you're going to ask. And then you take a staple that you have sharpened on the ground.
I thought it was worth an ask,
you attach it to a pen or a pencil. And then you just poke. It's a pretty painful thing.
Let the art happen.
Yeah. Old Josh.
Honestly,
Josh. Can we talk about Josh?
Well, Parker,
Josh.
we're talking about Houston pride. Like Vernon Maxwell has a distaste for Utah and the Utah Jazz. Like
if y'all don't follow Vernon Maxwell on Twitter, he will randomly at like 4:00 on a Tuesday tweet out trash talk about the state of Utah. It is fantastic.
He loathes Salt Lake
You
City.
said we were talking about Houston. I believe we were talking about tattoos.
I know. I'm just saying.
you're interrupting the
I believe
conversation,
we were talking
Parker.
about the art of prison tattoos.
How about Josh? Whoever this Josh guy is.
Correct. You think Josh is hosting the most successful podcast for a certain sports team? I don't think so.
So here's what Josh used to do in Huntington. Now, I also have to preface this by saying that I was not in a good frame of mind during these days. But So
And you
what he
use
would
these
do,
stories as lessons. This is something to be a lesson.
right? Yeah. So what he would do is he would get high on meth, and then he would tear apart bicycles, spray paint them, put them back together again, wipe off all the paint, and just do that over and over again every single day. So I would always know where he was at, and if I ever needed a bicycle fixed, then I'm pretty good at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is sick. This guy's an artiste. Man.
And that's how Mel Gibson came up with the Passion of the Christ.
Nick Maravitz, we go to you, sir.
I'm in shock. You never know when Paul will strike, and it's amazing every time.
Top 5 Paul episode for sure.
Nick is like 13 too.
What's
He learns a
crazy?
lot
What's
on
crazy?
this podcast.
This is life lessons.
What's
That's
crazy
what this
is John. We always think it's Spencer, but really Josh is the closest to this guy. Like no doubt.
Yeah. Josh is
an artist.
Like, he just takes things apart, puts them back together. The man is making art.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh,
He was a different kind of guy.
Artiste, the artist.
different kind of guys. It's well put, Paul. That's well put.
He had a sister named Kit Kat.
What's Kit Kat up to?
I have a crazy story about Kit Kat. I really do.
Can we keep it in the show?
It's a really bad one. Like, it's really bad though. We got held at gunpoint. We were in Huntington on 9th and 11th, and which is, just a really bad area in Huntington. And we were walking together. She was a woman of the night. And what I would do when I was homeless in my addiction is I would make sure that they got places safely because I had soft spot for them.
Nice.
And in my, my mind, I felt like I was in a good thing at the time. And so we had to go to a convenient place that we were both going together. And we got a ride right at the very end. We could have walked, but somebody was going that direction. And this person happened to have robbed that person. We didn't know. We were in the van while he went in to go speak with this person. And so obviously they came in 5 or 6 deep and pulled us out of the van, put us on a tarp, stripped us completely naked, and held us at gunpoint. So there's another lesson for you.
What's the statute of limitations on the story? Where were we at?
I don't know any other names, that's the truth. The only reason we got out of it though was she was like, "That's my baby cousin." That's what she kept saying to the guy that he eventually knew her. So that was the only reason we got out of it.
Wow, that's wild. She knew one of the dudes.
Well, yeah, we were going there to see this person, obviously, because we were on the streets, homeless, doing bad things, right? And so we, the initial meeting, I guess you could say, where the guy got caught doing whatever it was he did, I guess for stealing or whatever they were beating him to death for. Like, I looked out the window and he was like, that Red Rover where like you circle people up holding hands or whatever. He was in a circle of these guys and they were just shoving him back and forth. And like, as he would get to the next guy, they would just pistol whipping him. And I was like telling her, like, this is not a good situation for us because we're with him. And then they turned to the van and realized we were in there. And I got a gun to the head. Where the phone at? Where the money at? Where the phone at? Where the money at? So I said, I'm homeless, man. I don't have a phone or any money, and they didn't believe me. So they stripped me.
Wow. Well, this is true crime. This is what you get out of the podcast. Is sometimes
Jake's viewers are going to love this episode.
Love and life.
They're gonna have a lot of questions, I feel like.
Right, which is that's what you want. Paul, I think now probably
come back next week.
One of the 6 guys that robbed you or tried to rob what they thought you had. They probably are turning on the old YouTube now, sitting down doing something nefarious, going like, "Damn, that's that guy." They're really.
They recognize the tattoo, obviously.
Right.
That was pre-test.
I'm thinking they're like, that sounds a lot like something I did.
Do you remember that time that we circled that guy up?
Could this be me?
And and credit to
I didn't think I was getting out of that.
Like, was it that?
One of the most successful podcasts of the College Channel is Locked On Mountaineers or West Virginia. I don't know.
West Virginia.
Oh my gosh.
West Virginia.
So you don't even know?
It's a mixed bag. Half of you are the mascot. Half of you are the school.
I just thought Locked On Big 12 would know the name of the people he has on his shows, but it's okay. You don't care about it.
Well, he just puts Mountaineer Paul. He puts Mountaineer Paul.
He puts Mountaineer Paul for both spots.
He started this Locked On BYU, and then BYU threatened to cease and desist letters from our Locked On Cougars. So I don't know what.
We all love SIDs. Everybody, ELE. Everybody love SIDs.
Love everybody.
Yes, this is a testament to Locked On giving Paul a shot, and now Paul's life is
crushing
better
it
than ever.
Fantastic.
I've made the most money I've ever made in my life working for Locked On. That's the truth. Yeah, I tell people that all the time.
Go, Paul.
What would be not very much money to some people is a lot to others, so I'm not rich by any means, but like some of the checks that I've gotten, I was obviously like, well, this is a lot better than what it used to be. So I stay grateful for it.
But that's why this is awesome.
And we are lucky to have you a part of this squad, man. You always bring so much energy and laughter into it, man. And you make a lot of other people's days brighter with the stories and your viewers as well. Like, we love having you here, man.
Yep. It's getting mushy.
And that's coming from the North Carolina guy too. So there you go.
Yeah, that's my
praise.
You know what I hate? I've been sent that before by
BYU.
I hate that.
I've got a ton of stories like that too that are really like sobering.
And once a week, Paul, we're going to get to them. I guarantee it. We'll always
have fun
in the show.
I like how you shut me down.
Until you cease and desist.
Mountaineer Paul, I'm just going to say this. There are certain returned missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who will be able to commiserate with you on having a gun put at their head. So I think
are
going to be with you.
They do that. I do that. Reached out to Paul one day on Twitter and said, "Would you ever work for Locked On?" And who knew? Who knew what that would become?
Wait, actually, you started it?
Yeah, and Paul and I talked. Paul had a successful.
And now you don't even know the name of his show. What a story!
Correct. Paul had a successful deal. He was making decent money with another company who was helping him out. And the question was, would it be worth it to go to Locked On? Already had a pretty good thing going, and it was because Paul's show was taken off. I also, Nick Maravets, also you're welcome. Hello. And sadly, Cameron Stewart was from my pipeline.
I never met Drake.
Your coaching tree.
I am. Yeah. It's a couple other people.
Never met him. Never seen him.
I am part of the Jake Hatch line. It's a couple of
other
but it does. Jake is one of the people who starts it for sure.
BYU fans, I'm sorry. I
did.
I'm
I
in
was
the
on
Garrett
a call.
Ross line, actually.
Oh, jeez.
What coaching tree is
I'm the
Derek
Garrett
Johnson
Ross
from?
coaching
Is the
tree.
question.
Oh yeah, Derek's got to be that guy.
The Baker tree.
No, I'm actually. I don't know whose tree I am. I just got reached out to by some older guy, talent recruiter.
Josh Neighbors.
Tom. Josh Neighbors. Like a good neighbor.
Yes, thank you, Paul. It's funny to me. Sometimes the Locked On shows will find a new host. Like, oh, look, who's hosting Locked On Mississippi State? It's an Auburn fan. Oh, yeah, that's Zach Blackerby. There you go. That's see one of those come down the pipeline every.
My Locked On Hoosiers appearance a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Leave Mike Gittins alone. Locked
I was
On
gonna say
treasure.
I was gonna say Drake.
And that is Christian Rao. Lifelong Wildcats fan, Christian Rao, everybody.
Yeah,
please.
Zach's going to actually cut this part himself out.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with David Locke this week. Not to flex, by the way. Not to flex. I was on the phone with David Locke, and I mentioned Cam by name. I was like, yeah, and Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor is doing really good work. I said that. I was mentioning a couple things. And later in the conversation, he brings back up and he goes, yeah, and we're excited to have that Baylor guy that you mentioned earlier, and he just kept.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
He got the school right, though. He got the school right.
Yep.
Hey, Parker, does Houston win it all?
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains.
I think we've got a pretty good shot, man. Get a few days to prepare for Duke because you get Duke with days to prepare. And that's a big thing, obviously. They're really good. I don't mean to say they're obviously really good. They got the number one pick in the draft and probably another lottery pick as well.
Right, too.
Yeah. But I think Houston's defense is strong. We've seen a lot of lottery pick teams or teams filled lottery picks not win it all, right? I think Houston's pretty strong defense, like nothing they've seen so far. And then in the championship game, Florida's good too, but a rematch with Auburn is not something I'm scared of either. I feel good about the weekend. I also don't know, you don't play best out of 3 or best out of 7. You just play one game, and if someone rolls an ankle or gets in foul trouble, that could be all she wrote. So
You remind me of the West Virginia team that played Duke in the Final Four, 2010, with John Shire and those guys when they just absolutely.
Is that when Bob Huggins tried to make out with Deshaun Butler on the court?
Yeah,
I didn't look at it like that, Derek.
That's exactly what it was, Derek. Yes.
Oh, just
Put
overlooked
tongue
the
in,
fact that
his
Deshaun
best
Butler
player.
blew his knee out in the Final Four. Jamal Shed style blew his knee out in the Final Four.
Nice.
They just get the ball
bringing
in
up other
Joe
people's
Mazzulla's
painful
hands
memories
instead.
because of that. Like, sheesh.
Yep. Take that, Parker. There's
Yeah,
a
man.
strike.
Well, I was already making.
Hope that makes you
comparison.
feel better about your matchup. They got smoked by Duke. Good luck.
Yeah.
John
They got
Shire
smoked by
was
Duke
the
and their best player
was-
got hurt. Imagine that.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Paul, you guys had the best current basketball coach in that game. Joe Mazzulla is better than John Shire, so
You know,
you can
it's
hang your hat
crazy,
on that.
man.
He said with the second Boston out of the day on right there.
We were this close to offering him before he went to the Celtics.
Really?
What could have been? Yeah.
I wonder what he would have picked.
He wouldn't be able to talk about the town as much anymore. That'd be really hard on him.
I don't know if he would fit at West Virginia, honestly. Anyway, even though he played there as a great player, personality-wise, I don't know about that one. He's pretty harsh.
Took down John Wall and Boogie Cousins, Kentucky.
He's a great
People
coach,
forget
though.
that, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he is.
Well,
great
this
John
has
Shire
been,
game,
and it
though.
always will be. Once again,
78 to
congratulations
57.
to Molly Miller on being hired at Arizona State. We can't wait to have you in the Big 12 Conference. It's a joy for you, your husband, and your kids to all.
I like
be
how
on
you
the
picked the
show.
one with the ring showing like that. You did that definitely on purpose.
Hold on.
Look, the guy,
Well,
he's
you've
got
got
some
more.
brains to him. That's
more
quite a
loaded up in
sizable
there.
ring.
You are what you
Oh,
eat.
Jake will be
Knew
holding
what
that
he
up when I
was-
remind
knew
him that
what he was
Utah
doing.
played a basketball game later in the season than BYU
Yeah,
did.
there we go. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right. Congratulations to Molly Miller. Thanks to all the guys for being here for the show today. This has been, it always will be, Baylor We Are Bears. The Locked On. No, that's not what it. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande Squad.